You are sick on the couch with tissues piled up and a pounding headache behind your eyes. Your 2-year-old climbs over your stomach and loudly demands the blue cup. Not the green one she asked for 30 seconds ago. The blue one buried in the dishwasher. You watch this small tornado in footy pajamas and think, does this kid even know I'm a person? She doesn't see you that way. Not the way you mean it, but what you actually are to her is bigger than a person, and once you see it, the whole respect question falls apart. For the first few years of your daughter's life, she does not experience you as a separate human being with your own feelings, your own tired body, and your own bad days. She experiences you as something closer to weather or gravity or the floor under her feet. You are not quite a person to her yet. You're more like a condition of her world that she has never even thought to question. This is not a parenting failure on your part. It isn't because you're too gentle or not gentle enough, or because your kid is somehow more difficult than the ones at the park. It is developmental biology, and every toddler on the planet is running the same messy program. Your 2-year-old literally does not have the equipment yet to hold the thought mom is tired and the thought I want a snack inside her head at the same time. One of those thoughts always wins, and it's always the snack. So when she looks straight through you while you are crying on the kitchen floor, what's happening is that her brain can only feel its own feelings at full volume right now. There is no room left for yours. There is a concept in child development research called theory of mind. It is the ability to understand that other people have thoughts, feelings, and experiences different from your own. You and I have it. Toddlers mostly don't, at least not yet. Researchers test this with a little game that looks silly but tells you everything. They show a child a candy box and ask what is inside. The child says candy, obviously. Then the researchers open the box and it turns out to actually be full of pencils. Then they ask the kid a trick question. If your friend walks into the room right now, and I show her this closed box, what will your friend think is inside? Until around age 4, most children will confidently say pencils. They know it is pencils. They can't yet hold the idea that someone else's brain contains different information than their own brain does. Your inner world and her inner world are, as far as she is concerned, the same single shared world. Her brain simply cannot picture you as a separate mind with separate contents inside it yet. This is why your toddler asks, "Where are you?" from 2 feet away while looking directly at you, then a minute later narrates the cartoon she is watching, as if you can see it through the back of her head, and then 4 seconds after you close the bathroom door, announces that she also needs the bathroom. From where she is standing, anything she knows, you know too. You and her are basically one creature with 2 bodies walking around in the world, which raises a question I want you to really sit with. If you're not a person to her yet, what are you? You're something way more important than a person in her life. She is using you, without realizing it, to hold up her entire developing world. Her nervous system isn't finished building itself yet. The part of her brain that handles panic and impulse and huge feelings is already loud and fully online. The part that calms it all down is still under construction, and will be under construction for another 15 years or so. There's a child psychiatrist named Dan Siegel who has a name for this. He calls it the upstairs and downstairs brain. The downstairs is wired and loud, but the upstairs is not online yet and won't be for years, so she borrows yours. She checks your face, your voice, your shoulders, your breath, and she uses all of that data to decide what to feel. You have probably already seen this happen in your kitchen without naming it. Kid falls hard on the living room rug. She does not cry immediately. She looks at your face first, every time. If you look calm, she dusts herself off and keeps going. A horrified face from you, though, and she is going to wail about it. Her regulator is running on your input because her own one isn't online yet. This is also why when you lose it and yell, her nervous system cannot correct for it on its own. You are her only regulator. And when you stay calm during her meltdown, her system eventually catches up to yours and lands. Which is also why being around a toddler all day is so deeply exhausting. You are regulating 2 entire nervous systems at once, and only one of them is actually yours. It is also the first piece of why her worst behavior always lands on you specifically, and not on her babysitter or her preschool teacher. We will come back to that. But regulating her nervous system is only part of what you are doing for her every day. You are also the main source she is using to figure out who she is as a person. She doesn't have other strong sources yet. Teachers don't know her the way you do. Her friends are too young to really assess her, and strangers barely register as information in her developing brain. She mostly has you and the way you describe her at the dinner table to other adults, which means your offhand comments are landing differently than you probably think they are. A dropped sigh when she spills juice lands in her somewhere. She catches the warm laugh when she sings at full volume in the living room, too. And when you casually described her as shy in the grocery line while she hit her face against your leg, that word stuck. I watched this happen with a friend of mine. Her daughter was 3, a little slow to warm up to new people, just normal toddler stuff. But at every single social thing, birthday parties and the pediatrician in grandma's house, my friend would introduce her the exact same way. Oh, she's my shy one. She'll warm up in a minute. Months and months of this. And by the time the daughter turned 4, she was introducing herself the exact same way at the door of a birthday party. I'm shy. Right there at the door, before anyone had even said hi to her. She probably isn't going to remember the specific sentence 20 years from now, but she is using those sentences right now to build her first draft of who she is as a person. Kids form their sense of themselves by listening to how we describe them, and a toddler doesn't separate "mom says I'm shy" from "I am shy." She just turns the first one into the second one inside her head. This is an honestly unfair amount of power to hand someone who is already this tired. But this is also just the job as a mom of a toddler. And it goes deeper than self-image. Beyond regulating her feelings and shaping who she thinks she is also using you to figure out what is actually real. She hasn't figured out whether the vacuum cleaner is actually dangerous or just loud and annoying. That friendly-looking golden retriever at the park could be safe or could be a real threat, and she cannot read the difference on her own yet. A scraped knee could be a serious injury or a 2-second blip, and she has no scale to compare it against. That man with the big beard standing behind her in the supermarket line might be a kind stranger or someone to be afraid of, and her little brain has no way of telling which one. It is statistically always the guy just buying bananas, for what it's worth. But she does not know that yet, so she looks at you, every single time, for the answer. An unfamiliar room, a loud sound out in the street, a stranger on a park bench, a bug crawling across the kitchen floor. Your reaction is her data in every one of those moments. A calm expression from you tells her the world is safe. Tension on your face reads, to her developing brain, as a world that might not be. Her brain simply cannot help running this check in the background, whether she is trying to or not. This is why your kid can have a total meltdown over something that seems tiny to you. It is not actually tiny to her, because she has not lived long enough yet to know the scale of things. You are the scale she is measuring everything against. But the biggest one, honestly, reframes more daily behavior than the other 3 combined. You are the one person in her entire life who is safe enough for her to completely fall apart with. Her preschool teacher told you she was an angel all morning. At lunch, her grandmother mentioned how perfectly polite she had been at the table. The afternoon at the park with her dad apparently went beautifully. And then you walk in the door at 5 o'clock in the evening, and 90 seconds later she has collapsed on the kitchen floor in tears because her sock has a tiny bump in the toe. The 5 o'clock sock bump meltdown is your daughter finally putting down a very heavy weight she has been carrying all day. Because you walked in the door and you are the one place in the world where it is safe to put the weight down. So let's go back to that first miserable moment on the couch with the tissues. Does this kid see me? She does see you. But she doesn't see you as a person the way your partner does, or your best friend does, or the stranger at the grocery store does. She sees you as the whole sky over her head. You're the floor she stands on, the voice in her head before she has her own voice, the one who decides whether the dog is okay and whether the loud noise is something to be scared of. To her, you are also the mirror she is using to build her first draft of herself, the nervous system she is plugged into while her own quietly boots up, and the safe harbor that she is finally allowed to storm at without the world ending. What feels from your side like invisibility is actually the deepest kind of connection she is capable of having right now. You are so completely woven into her experience of reality that she literally cannot see you as a separate person yet. The way a fish cannot really see the water it swims in every day. And this is where the whole disrespect frame falls apart. The kid who treats her preschool teacher like a queen and her own mother like a personal rival isn't a little girl who has somehow learned to disrespect her mom. She's a little girl who knows, deep down in her body, that she can rage at her mom and her mom will still be there and the world will not end. Trust is what that actually is. It is ugly and exhausting and snotty-faced and shoe-throwing trust, but it is still trust underneath everything. A friend of mine has a 4-year-old boy who used to save his absolute worst behavior for the exact second she walked in the door from work. His shoes would get flung across the hallway the moment he spotted her walking in. He would start yelling about dinner before he had even seen what dinner actually was. A toy truck that had been fine for 2 full hours with the babysitter would suddenly trigger a total dramatic collapse on the living room floor. She felt personally targeted, like he had been storing it all up just to show her who was actually boss. Then another mom in her circle said something to her on a walk one morning that stopped her completely. He isn't giving you his worst. He's giving you his realist. A lot of daily stuff stops feeling personal once you start reading her this way. She demands juice in the middle of your phone call because she cannot picture you as someone having a separate conversation inside a separate inner world yet. When she ignores you saying, I am tired, sweetheart, those words haven't fully attached yet to a separate human being inside her mind, and they just evaporate before landing anywhere. Her biggest meltdown of the week lands on you the second you walk in from a brutal day at work because you are the safest place in the entire building, and she has been white knuckling it for 8 hours waiting for you to come home. None of this means that you don't matter, or that your own feelings and needs somehow stop existing inside your own house. You are still a whole person. You can still say Mama is going to sit for 5 minutes and actually mean it. Limits still apply when she is being unsafe or unkind. And closing the bathroom door behind yourself to breathe for a minute isn't just allowed, it is required for you to keep functioning. Gentle parenting does not mean you disappear into a full-time service role. So your 2-year-old is going to keep not acting like she sees you as a person. That wiring just isn't online in her brain yet. It comes in around age 4 or 5, not earlier, no matter how many times you try to explain it to her at the breakfast table. You are not being disrespected by your 2-year-old. You are being used in the most literal developmental sense of the word. You're her regulator, her mirror, her reality check, and her landing pad for everything she can't carry alone yet. One day, and this is the part I want you to really hold on to, something will shift inside her. It happens around age 4 or 5, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. She will tilt her head at the breakfast table and actually notice that you look tired this morning. Or she will pause the game she is playing on the carpet and ask if you are sad about something today. Or she will just quietly climb into your lap after a hard day and not say anything at all. That is the moment she sees you as a person for the very first time. It is small and quiet and kind of astonishing when it finally lands. I have watched it happen in my own kitchen with my own kids, and I promise you it does arrive. Right now, though, you are still the whole sky over her head. And from where I am sitting, you are doing a genuinely good job holding that sky up for her, even on the days you feel like you are failing at it completely. If this reframed something for you today, go ahead and hit subscribe. Next week, I am breaking down the one sentence that lives in a lot of exhausted moms' heads at 9 o'clock at night after a hard day. The research actually says it is the opposite of true, and it is doing real damage under the surface. I will see you there.